So let's continue this string of books as we return to the wonderful world of Star Wars, this time with a plot that was literally taken from unused Clone Wars episode scripts, and from the good seasons of the Clone Wars. Written by Christie Golden, the plot decides to wrap up a few loose ends that were left open in the Clone Wars cartoon, the name of that loose end being Asajj Ventress. So for those of you who don't remember the Clone Wars cartoon, or haven't seen the final season of the Clone Wars cartoon that only got released on Netflix thanks to the whole Disney merger thing, or Disney buying Star Wars thing, Asajj Ventress never was fully wrapped up. However, we know she doesn't appear in any of the things going forward, so what happens to her exactly? This book plans to answer that question, so without further ado, let's get on to it. The plot of this book picks up sometime after the original Clone Wars cartoon has ended, following Jedi Master Quillen Vos, who acts sort of like the Jedi Black Ops, being sent on a mission to assassinate Count Dooku and end the war. In order to do this, he's sent to find and team up with Asajj Ventress, under guise of being a normal bounty hunter, hoping to basically bag the big bounty that mysterious on Dooku's head. And of course, things start getting a bit personal between the two as they start to slowly fall in love with one another. And Ventress starts to tease Vos about the dark side of the Force. Like the previous Star Wars novel, I have to say it's a good one. It's a good book. And considering it was made on the basis of the latter Clone Wars episodes, that's a pretty given considering the fact those episodes were really good. What was also a pleasant surprise was Vos's personality. Unlike most detached Jedi, he's more in touch with his emotions and is a bit of a jokester in nature, often making jokes about acting wise. Basically, think sort of like a more jokey version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Seeing him interact with Ventress, who also acts like the angst-prone berserker she normally acts like, it's a bit of a weird pairing, but it makes sense when you actually read the book. But she also shows a bit of a more sensitive side, mainly only towards Vos, and at moments towards Obi-Wan when he shows up in the book at points. Of course, Obi-Wan and Anakin get their moments to be awesome towards the end of the book, and seeing how the assassination plan goes and of course fails is also interesting, because you know it fails because episode 3 happened. Being a Star Wars novel, of course, was plenty of action. There was a rather long bit in the middle with Asajj and Vos being bounty hunters. That supplies a good bit of that action, of course, and anytime they go after Dooku. Really this, I have to admit, it's a shame that these episodes were never actually made, but at least we got them in one way, shape, or form. Again, I do miss the prospect of actually getting these animated, though. Oh well, maybe you'll get a movie, hopefully. Overall, if you're a fan of Star Wars, this is a must-read, especially if you're a fan of Ventress. If I had to give any major negatives, it's that the bounty hunter bit in the middle of the book seems going for a bit too long, but seeing Vos and Ventress interact for a bit longer was what kept me going throughout those segments. Again, really good book, and if you're a Star Wars fan, another must read. So see you next time.